No, that's not big enough. No, that's not big enough either. That's more like it. We're delighted to have you with us, and we extend a cordial welcome to you. We've lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on our giant screen with the new, colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading about. To add to your enjoyment, we're all wound up to bowl you over at intermission time with live wire service at our snack bar, where you'll find a tempting variety of favorite foods and beverages. Your continued patronage is very, very welcome.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Stoud Man's 24-hour movie marathon. That's right. And for this marathon, I'm going to be splitting it up into 2 different days. I'm going to be splitting it up into 2 different days, doing it over 2 days, simply because of my work schedule, which is completely up in the air at all times. Because I am a freelance writer, and the money that I make is through freelancing, and at any time, any of the companies or people that I work for can randomly up and decide, well, I need this done, and I need it done today, and I'm not going to wait. That kind of situation. I'm sure you can imagine. I don't know, maybe you can't, but it's one of those situations where, you don't just get a day off like everybody else does. Sometimes you get days off and you never know that it's going to be a day off until the day is over. So really, it's really kind of a stressful situation to be in, and especially considering you're not making much money for it. But that being said, I do need to still keep doing that work regardless whenever I am given the opportunity to do so. And if I miss, I'm afraid of what would happen if I missed a day, if I missed a due date, so to speak. So I've set this up as much as I possibly can to account for all of that stuff, which means that I am going to be trying at least for between 15 and 16 hours on one day, on the first day, and then finish the rest of the 8 or 9 hours on the next day. So I wish I didn't have to split it up like that, but just to make sure that I don't miss any appointments that I otherwise might have had to take on, I'm gonna have to do it that way. Sorry, I just had to remove the movies that I'm going to watch, which you could kind of see over here, but I don't think you could see them that well. Maybe you could. But anyways, I have all my movies picked out that I'm going to be watching, so no need to worry about that. So let's just get started, shall we? For my 3-hour movie, why not go big? Go big or go home. Lawrence of Arabia, the epic classic movie Lawrence of Arabia. That's almost 4 hours long, actually. But yes, I will actually be watching this with a friend of mine who I believe has told me he has not seen it yet. Skinslip is going to be watching this with me. And quite an excellent movie. I got it on Blu-ray for like $5 a year ago, and I never got a year or 2 maybe actually, and I never got around to actually watching it since then. I mean, I've seen the movie, but I never actually got around to watching the Blu-ray after I bought it. So it's one of those cases where it's such a long movie you can't really plop down and devote a lot of time to watching it. Unless you're doing a movie marathon like this one, where one of the requirements is to watch a 3-hour movie. So yeah, about time I got this done. Lawrence of Arabia, coming up next.
And now, intermission. Refreshment time. It's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold. The juicy Frank's sizzling hot. There's delicious coffee, freshly brewed, and all kinds of ice cream and candy to tempt you. Showtime will be announced loud and clear to get you back to your car in time. So stretch your legs. Come to the snack bar now.
Time for the first meal of the day. Monster Energy drink, absolutely zero, which means 0 calories. Yeah. I don't like to drink anything with calories in it anymore. Just added calories when you don't really need them. So yeah. I do like Monster's absolutely zero though, so yeah. Awesome. Energy for the day. Whee! For my first meal of the day, I will be having sun chips. French onion. They're delicious. I'm about to start watching Lawrence of Arabia with Brandon. He's taking forever to get his movie ready. I, however, am perfectly ready. Look at that looped gif of Lawrence of Arabia. I'm noticing all the looped gifs on the menu here, and they're humorous. There's a guy with the sword. He goes, Yeah, here it is. There it is. Yep.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, time for the show. Once again, thank you for coming to our theater tonight. Have an enjoyable evening. The refreshment stand will remain open for a short time. Still plenty of time to get a snack or cold drink. We'll make an announcement before the stand closes to give you plenty of time to get that last-minute treat.
We're in the middle of intermission, and I'm watching with Brandon here, and intermission just has, a black screen. You can see me in the screen. That's how black it is. And there's Brandon with his thumb up his ass. You've been having fun with Lawrence of Arabia. Okay, Brandon apparently thinks, whatever. Although he hasn't been able to shut up about how magnificent the framing is and the cinematography. Well, I just finished watching Lawrence of Arabia here with my good friend Brandon Skinslip. That's right, after doing his own movie marathon, now he's watching a lot of the movies I'm going to be watching with me. Here's the set that I watched it off of. Got it for $5 a while back from Best Buy, and I love the inside cover here. You got Lawrence there. Very cool. Brandon was remarking at the excellent cinematography and the excellent framing and whatnot in the film, and beautiful music and whatnot. And I was remarking at how the cinematography was done in such a way that even though the story is largely about politics and about how you've got a bunch of small men trying to rule the world, essentially, and how the world is getting smaller in a lot of ways. Even though that's the case, the way that it's shot, it feels like it makes the world feel a lot bigger. And actually, as the movie goes on, it feels like the world, like the way that they shoot it, becomes a lot smaller. I mean, you still see a lot of vista shots and stuff like that later in the movie, but you also see a lot more close-up shots of people in the latter half of the movie, I would say, from what I noticed. And we were talking about the whole Lawrence as Jesus or as the white savior thing going on. And that really is apparent because, I mean, there's even a moment where he says, like, walk on water with me. And there's a moment when he refers to himself as Moses. And there's a moment where he essentially, it's like his spirit kind of dies. And then he goes back and he asks to be, to be able to go home, which, if you kind of think of home as heaven, it's him returning to heaven. And then a few days later, three days later, he returns back to his people, essentially. I mean, it's and on this, after being whipped, it's the Jesus story. It's the Jesus story. He is the white Jesus. And that's largely one of the things that you're supposed to get from this. But yeah, regardless, it's an amazing film. Absolutely fantastic. Love it. Had a blast watching it once more. Although at the end of about 3 hours, you're just like, how much longer is this? So yeah, glad to be done with the 3-hour cut, and glad I chose that one first. So yeah, next up, we're gonna be watching Speed Racer. Get that tiredness out of my eyes and start watching some eye candy. Yeah. For my movie that was considered a flop, I have chosen Speed Racer. I will be doing Speed Racer because I recently picked it up for like $4, or I think it was like $3.50 actually. Used, of course, but yeah. I've been wanting to watch it since I picked it up because honestly, this is eye candy. Even if it was worthy of being a flop, which I do not believe it was, it is just an absolute pleasure to see on screen. It's just, I don't know, the Wachowski brothers are good at this stuff. I don't know what it is, but when it comes to putting eye candy on screen and making something that's just really fun to actually look at and just pleasing to the eye, this movie does the trick. Just colors everywhere. Fucking color. Flashes of color. I love it. I love it because it makes the movie feel very animated, which of course kind of goes back to the roots of the concepts of Speed Racer, of the show and whatnot. I never really liked the original Speed Racer. I never could really get into it. I didn't really hate it, but I never really got into it. So, that being said, I did like the 90s reboot. I did think that one was pretty cool. And having very limited knowledge about the series, I actually did kind of like this movie. Not just because it was eye candy, but because it's pretty fun. Like, it's not like the greatest movie ever, but it's pretty fun. And yeah, it flopped, but, undeservedly so. Speed Racer is a pretty damn good movie, and I can't wait to check it out. Gonna be watching this with my friend Brandon with Skin Slip, and I'm sure we're gonna have a blast. Speed Racer.
Sure is great being on a drive-in watching Super Flick and eating all this great food.
This flick is making me hungry.
It makes me want to flick my bick.
We should have gone to the drive-in where we could eat and flick to our heart's content.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Well, come on then. I'm gonna have a pizza and popcorn and ice cream.
And I'm gonna have a burger with fries and a soft drink. Yum, yum, yum.
And here is my dinner for the night. I'm eating leftover tacos with Taco Bell fire sauce on them. And then tea. Because I have a sore throat still and I need to solve the tea. Solve it with tea, not solve the tea. Blarg. Alright, on to Speed Racer. Speed Racer is on here somewhere. Ah, Blu-ray disc. Speed Racer! I'd just like to take note here that Speed Racer is exactly 2 hours and 15 minutes long. This is noteworthy because Lawrence of Arabia was exactly 3 hours and 47 minutes long. So, wow, we've got exact times on these movies. That won't continue.
Here comes Speed Racer, he's a demon on wheels. He's a demon and he's gonna be chasing after someone. He's gaining on you, so you better look alive. He's busy revving up the powerful Mach 5.
Don't drive over 10 miles an hour in the theater area for your safety's sake. And Mom or Pop, go with the kids when they leave the car. We hope you have a wonderful time. Come back soon.
Well, I just got done watching Speed Racer. And I have to tell you, I still love the movie just as much as I did the first time I saw it on Blu-ray. Absolutely gorgeous, just eye candy. Colors and bright lights and flashy photography and just a style to it that is very, as Brandon was pointing out, very cyberpunk and very inspired by a lot of different sources. So, like, for instance, you see Racer Speed's bedroom, and his bedroom is very, it's got like a 70s wallpaper background to it, and they still, like, the Racer family still wears a lot of like 70s inspired clothing. Meanwhile, in the world around them, it's very much like a combination of the idyllic 50s or 60s or 70s home, surrounded by a lot of, you know, fancy futuristic science fiction type stuff that you would never have seen. So it's like an impossible future that simply doesn't exist. So there is definitely that kind of cyberpunk feel to it. And then, you know, the story itself is really ridiculous, and like a lot of the art style is ridiculous as well. You see, like, in one scene you see a bunch of what are they, segways? A bunch of people riding segways along like a stretch of a building essentially, and they all look like paper cut, probably because they are, but they all look like paper cutouts that are just being kind of like moved around on the background to made to look like they're actually, you know, moving along at the same speed, when in reality they aren't there. They're just like paper cutouts and whatnot. But regardless, that style, I feel like, is intentional. I feel like they intentionally made it look like that because they're trying to go for a certain kind of you know, animation style. They're trying to recall or make you recall you know, animation styles from the 70s and from anime and, you know, from Speed Racer and whatnot. And also, you know, they're just trying to make it not, they're not trying to be as realistic. In fact, they're almost trying to be unrealistic with what they're showing, because there's like, that's kind of the point of the story, is like it doesn't have to be realistic to be fun and interesting. It's just completely unrealistic, and that's what makes it great to me. I don't know. And just like it sounds like something written for Lawrence of Arabia, not for Speed Racer. And yet here it is in Speed Racer. So when you see that, it's just almost comical. And a lot of this movie is very comical. At the same time it's comical, it's just a whole lot of fun to watch because it's just like some of the coolest racing scenes you've ever seen. Inspired almost from like a variety of sources, like I said, but almost from video games as well, because there's like the Ghost Racer at one point that Speed is racing against, which is taken straight out of a video game. I mean, this movie is an amalgamation of different styles, and it all comes together in this colorful blast of both nostalgia and just, nonsensical BS that assaults the senses, really. And I don't know what it is about that, but I would love it. Let me put it this way. If this would be a great movie to watch on shrooms. I don't know if I would ever do that, but if I was ever in that kind of a situation, I'd probably say, dude, we need to get some Speed Racer in here, because this movie is perfect for that. So yeah. Anyways, next up we're going to be watching Inside Llewyn Davis. For my random film that I've never seen, but I've always been interested in seeing, or have been interested in seeing, I've chosen Inside Llewyn Davis, which was recommended to me by my good friend Jeff Messermeister, Jeff Messerman, who also writes articles for Geeky.com, if you haven't noticed. And yeah, he said that this was an excellent film from the Coen brothers, and knowing that I love the Coen brothers, I ran out and picked it up. Got a pretty good deal on it, as I recall. And I never got around to actually watching it. So let's correct that, shall we? I mean, the Coen brothers, I hate to say that they can do no wrong, but in the stuff that I've seen from them, which I've seen, I would say I've seen at least 10 of their movies. Between 5 and 10 of their movies. From the stuff that I have seen of theirs, they have done no wrong so far. So, yeah, really looking forward to this. Let's see what it's like inside Llewyn Davis.
And now, on with the show.
Kitty! Kitty! I love kitties. It's like, come on, fucking, what are you afraid of? Hey, everybody. Ooh. Can you see the bags growing under my eyes? So I just finished watching Inside Llewyn Davis. And, yes, I really like this movie. I like the cat, in particular, the star of the film, the cat, apparently named Ulysses, who went on a journey that we didn't get to see. I think one of the things I really liked about the movie is that it features like this guy going on a journey of his own, of like self-discovery, so to speak, and he doesn't really arrive. I mean, Brandon said he felt like he arrives somewhere. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think he really arrives at any destination. I feel like he just ends up in the same place he was before, and having roughly the same attitude about everything else, and being just as, treated just as poorly as he was before by everyone around him. And yeah, I mean, there were a lot of aspects about the movie that I really liked, though. I mean, and that particular aspect is something that I liked because I've always felt like, a story doesn't necessarily have to have a beginning, middle, and end that makes, that has, the same, like a specific kind of structure, right? I've always felt like you can work outside of those bounds and still have something coherent with flow that is, awesome. And, well, Coen Brothers proved it with Inside Llewyn Davis. What can I say? Loved the movie. A little bit hipsterish, or hippie-ish, I guess I would say, since it's set in 1961 Greenwich Village. But, yeah. Regardless, I mean, there was a lot of humor to it. There was a lot of dark humor. There was just a lot that was interesting and funny about this movie and about the characters in it. And, yeah, absolutely loved it. But that being said, I don't think it's a movie that's, warrants watching more than, once every 2 or 3 years. So keep that in mind if you ever decide to pick this up. Anyways, it is now 11:18 p.m. We have gotten through 3 movies, and it is time to move on to the 4th one. And the 4th one is Night of the Comet. For my birth movie, the movie that came out during the same time as the year I was born, during the same year that I was born, for that movie I have elected to watch Night of the Comet. There were a few choices that I could have made, but this is the one I really wanted to watch again. Watched it for the first time last year with some friends of mine, and I'm going to be watching it again with a friend of mine this year for my movie marathon. Absolutely fantastic movie. I was blown away. I mean, I don't know what else I can really say about this, because it's the perfect mix of post-apocalyptic and just awesome horror sci-fi 80s stuff going on there. And I absolutely love it. And I love this artwork here, really cool, for the slipcover. Underneath you got that as well. I believe that there's also, well, I'm not going to get into it really, but if you want to, you can look up my Blu-ray update about getting this. I don't know exactly where it is, but yeah. Night of the Comet, that's what I'll be watching next for my birth movie, 1984. There you go. I'm 31 this year. Alright. Night of the Comet.
Good evening. It's intermission time. Our service is friendly and quick. You'll find hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, your favorite candies, hot and cold beverages, and other delicious snacks. So add to your fun of watching the movie. Visit our refreshment stand right now. We're glad to have you with us tonight. We hope you'll come to see us often. It's great to get out to the movies.
So here you can see my Vertigo poster and my Clockwork Orange poster. I really love that poster, by the way. I'm thinking of moving these and adding some new ones to the walls and whatnot. But yeah, while we're here, why not show you the snack that I'm going to have? I love that Brandon just said that right now. Fucking hell. So... He's dying laughing now. Anyway. Hostess is delicious. Their ho-hos are the best fucking... Dickhead. Oh, God. Hostess are the best when it comes to ho-hos and ding-dongs. I love ho-hos and ding-dongs, and theirs are better than the Swiss rolls, so fuck yeah. And then we got to drink Diet Snapple, half and half lemonade, half iced tea. Alright, on to Night of the Comet. Oh God, what is this stuff? Is it blood? Yes, that is totally Larry's motorcycle over there. What was that? It was just a black zombie, that's all. You're fine. Wow. Homeless black zombie! Homeless black zombie! Oh dear God. And it talks too. Just finished Night of the Comet, and gotta say, holds up quite well. I love the 80s-ness of this, and I love the fact that it's got two main female characters who can handle their own. In fact, there's another female character in it who also just kind of does her own thing and doesn't listen to the male authority, as it were. So it's really different in terms of, like, you know, and progressive in terms of showing, you know, female characters who are capable of handling their own shit, essentially, and are strong and capable. And yeah, you know me, I love movies with strong female role models and strong female characters. So yeah, bleh. Shows you how tired I'm getting. But man, can you look at this? Could you look at this? And of course, the special effects are really cool, and I like the lighting, even though Brandon says it's crap, and it, like, technically is crap, but there's just something about all the neon and the haziness and, like, the red sky that's throughout the movie that is just really cool. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend Night of the Comet. But anyways, I'm gonna move on now. I've got about this much my Snapple left. Ho-hos are gone. Next up, we will be watching The Box Trolls. Well, I don't have any box art for the next movie that I'm going to be watching, but I don't have the movie with me. But I will, in fact, be watching the movie Box Trolls. I'm not going to explain exactly how I'm going to be watching the movie Box Trolls, but I will be watching the movie Box Trolls. The Box Trolls. I've been meaning to watch this. I really wanted to get out to the theater to watch it, but I never actually got around to doing so. So I figured, well, it's time to correct that mistake. I'm going to watch the box trolls for my animated film, and I'm going to be watching it, I believe, with my friend Skinslip, and we're going to have a grand old time. Hopefully it'll be as good as the other Leica movies, which were Paranorman. I absolutely love that movie. And Coraline. Coraline was an excellent film. So, yeah. I mean, they have a pretty good track record so far. I am expecting good things from them with this one.
And now, on with the show.
I just finished the box trolls, and it's now 3 o'clock in the morning. Gotta say, I was actually quite impressed with the box trolls. I wouldn't say that it was like, the best movie I've ever seen from Leica, bar none. I think that Paranorman wins out on that one, no matter what you do. But that being said, I felt like the box trolls was an incredibly original idea. Well, maybe like the plot of it isn't necessarily original. It's based on this whole concept of the bourgeoisie and about how stupid it is for, the higher class to be treating the slightly higher class like crap, which then gets the slightly higher class to be treating the lower class like crap, which then gets the lower class to be treating, and on and on and on and on and on. Just everybody treating each other like crap on a downward slope. That's kind of what the heart of this story is all about. But the concept of the box trolls themselves is something I've never seen before in my entire freaking life. It's so original and creative and unique that I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie. And of course, there's also the design from Leica. Very amazing animators. That being said, although it was very funny and unique and creative, there were also a lot of aspects of the story that weren't necessarily incredibly or entirely unique or creative. The sense that I got at the end, like what I really felt like was that I was watching a foreign, independent animated film, which I've seen a few of in my time. Not a whole lot, but I've seen a few of them in my time. And, it kind of reminded me in some respects of Mary and Max, which is an amazing animated film that not many people, like maybe not everybody knows about, but it's just an amazing movie that you all need to watch. It's currently on Netflix, so there's no excuse not to watch it. And, it just felt like, an animated movie that was maybe made, like, maybe it was a independent, low-budget film from the UK. Something like that. That is kind of what it felt like. But to my understanding, Leica is an American company. And this was a movie that was not sold to just the UK or just certain markets, which you would see from an independent or foreign film. It was sold big in the United States, which you would not see of this kind of film, period. Like the creative and unique stories and characters, you just don't see that in American films. American films predominantly are made up of stories and character arcs that are absolutely predictable and recognizable and memorable. I mean, try to deny that. Just try to. You can't, because it's everywhere you look in American films. So to see something like The Box Trolls come out, it's not surprising to me that it might not have done as well as they had hoped, because, actually I think it did pretty well, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if it didn't do too well, because it was original and creative enough that, it strikes me as something that might not have been accepted by modern audiences that are used to seeing the same thing over and over again, to the point that they actually want to and crave to see that kind of stuff, because that's what they've been taught to crave. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, I liked it, but at the same time I would say it's probably like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. And not enough love is given to movies that are 6s out of 10, I might add. I was just talking about this with Brandon. This is the last movie he watched with me for the night. And, not enough love is given to the 6 out of 10s. Because the thing about a 6 out of 10 is that it is a decent movie. It is a movie that is more than worth watching, that is enjoyable, and typically doesn't have very many issues with it. The only thing that keeps it from being excellent is the fact that it's simply not excellent. It's just so-so. But a 6 out of 10 is solidly out of the range of, having too many issues to even warrant consideration. So people act like the 6 out of 10, it's worthless. It's a piece of crap. Why? The 6 out of 10 is excellent. I'm also accepting of the 5 out of 10. I mean, I even kind of like some 4 out of 10s. But for me, if it's what bothers me is that I see a lot of people like shitting all over 6 out of 10s, like they're not even worth checking out. It's like, dude, there's nothing wrong with the 6 out of 10. There's really nothing wrong with it. It's just that it isn't fucking brilliant. I mean, who cares if it's not brilliant? I mean, it doesn't have to be brilliant to be a good movie, and The Box Trolls is proof of that. So, yeah. Anyways, I will be making some food real quick. And actually, that's what I'm doing right now. Making some food and some tea, because I'm getting a little hungry here at 3 o'clock in the morning. Probably be my last meal of the night. But then, I think I shall watch my next movie.
As everyone knows, rainbows usually have a treasure at the end. Let's follow this one and see if we can find the pot of gold.
Ah, there, and I suppose you've come to claim me treasure.
Well, we'd like to see the gold first.
Faith, and there's better than gold in here, me lad. No, just look here, no.
Candy, refreshing soft drinks, popcorn, ice cream. Well, that's some treasure, but anyone can buy luscious treats like these at the snack bar.
You don't tell me. Do you suppose you could get me a job as a snack bar attendant?
Oh, yeah. You know you done it right when it comes to tea. When you got that foam on the top. That foam is deliciousness right there. Alright. Next to it, we've got a lean cuisine meal. Because, trying to watch my calories. So, this is about 310 calories. But, I highly doubt that they're actually able to get that right all the time. And I also have some cheese, some Parmesan cheese on top of that. So, let's call it an even 350. But yeah. Anyways, delicious tea and some awesome food to eat. Probably, last thing I'm going to eat all night. Anyway. Next up, go figure. I said I was going to check this out during my movie marathon, and I am going to do just that. Jacob's Ladder. Again, this was referred to me by my friend Matt, Metal Madness. He said that it was an excellent film and I should check it out. It does seem to me like it's going to be a mind trip, so to speak, and it's probably going to be fairly depressing, at least a little bit. But I don't mind. I mean, I already watched one depressing movie throughout this whole spiel. I know I'm going to watch at least one. I might as well watch another, right? Jacob's Ladder, I'm highly anticipating this. I can't wait to check it out, so let's put it in and let's watch it.
Oh, it's showtime.
Oh man, I'm really loving the cinematography in this movie. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful framing too. Bergen Street. I'm wondering what's coming next. He just recently saw some kind of a tentacle. Yes, Stephen King, Tim Robbins. Oh, I can see myself in the blackness. That's probably not a wise decision, sir. Sir, I highly advise against doing this. I know you want to be a Ninja Turtle, but I would not do this if I were you. Oh man, look at that. Well, I just finished up Jacob's Ladder, and holy crap, was that a good movie. I mean, it might even be the best movie I've seen tonight. I'm just looking back here. Well, Lawrence of Arabia is a pretty good movie. Obviously, it's very good. Inside Llewyn Davis was also very good. But yeah, this was just mind-blowingly phenomenal. Like, I was expecting kind of a mindfuck kind of thing, and there was a lot of that element to it, but there was also this element of the of secrecy and of government interference and stuff that it was kind of the sort of stuff that I have seen in like new Hollywood movies. So like kind of reminded me of like The Parallax View and The Long Goodbye and other kind of movies like that, and of course war movies in particular, like Full Metal Jacket and stuff like that. But the cinematography was just freaking fantastic. The way that the whole story is told, like the progression of it all, is just like fantastic. Everything is set up to be exactly where it needs to be, and it's just beautiful. I mean, work of art, honestly, work of art. So yeah, very good movie. I was more than pleasantly surprised. Great recommendation, Matt, from my friend Matt, who recommended that I check this movie out. Jacob's Ladder only cost me $4.50, I think, and hey, well, money well spent, because this is a really good movie, and I can see myself watching it, more than a few times more in the next few years, because it's just that good. So, yeah. Jacob's Ladder. I guess, actually, it's 5 in the morning. It's 5 in the morning, and what I have to do is call it a night. Now, I was thinking about just continuing on, and doing the 24 hours straight, and because I'm not, like, absolutely tired yet, but the thing is that I have to be prepared for the eventuality that I'm going to get an email in the morning, later this morning, telling me, well, we need you to write us this article today, and it needs to be done today, or it needs to be done by tomorrow, essentially. And, if I stay up the whole 24 hours, then I'm not going to be able to, you know, I'm going to have to go to sleep at some point, and then before you know it, I'll wake up at like 10 or 11 at night or something like that. And then I will have to start working then at like 11 o'clock at night, and that might mean that some of the work that I have to do would be late. So just to make sure that I don't, you know, screw anything up for myself in terms of the little work that I am getting right now, I have to stop right now, and I'll start again tomorrow. But yeah, it's been great so far. I've gotten through at least a few movies. I got through Box Trolls, Jacob's Ladder, Night of the Comet, Inside Llewyn Davis, Speed Racer, Lawrence of Arabia, and what is that? That's it. That's it. I was thinking about watching my TV show tonight, but I think I'm just gonna call it a night and then wake up tomorrow and get my work done. I got some product descriptions I know I have to write, so I'll get those out of the way, and then I'll just go right into watching the movies, man. Actually, what I'll probably do is get those out of the way, and then I'll edit the video, because I need to put up a video for Friday. And then I will, after I'm done editing that video, and I'll just let it render and start watching the movie. By any luck, I should be able to start watching movies again, start this up again at about 5 p.m. tomorrow. Maybe even earlier. Who knows, really? I'm just gonna play it by ear and hope for the best. Hoping, of course, that I don't have to randomly do another article, because that would push it back even later. But, yeah. That being said, calling it a night for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the movie marathon in another video. You know, just because this is the first night that I'm doing, and then tomorrow you can see the second night of the stuff that I did, you know. So that's the idea, at least. I'm planning to release these videos, this first video here on my birthday, so happy birthday, me! Yeah, March 24th, if that's when this is getting released, that's my birthday. So, yeah. Anyways, that all being said and done, I'm going to go pass out now and get some work done tomorrow, and then get back to watching movies. I hate to take breaks like this. I don't want to, but it's the nature of the beast, man. It's the nature of the situation I find myself in right now. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to drink the rest of this soda and go to bed. Good night!